first time in Nairobi. I stayed with staff, and Sunday came, and so we're on our way to church. And I noticed these people out carrying banners, and a little group of people marching, and some of them had a kind of a uniform on, and they had a drummer with them that was drumming. And so then I said, who are they? Oh, he said, those are we call them the Zionists. He said, it's sort of a Christian group, and that's the rural churches. And then we passed another group, and I said, well, where are they going? Oh, he said, they're probably going to a preaching point, like under a tree that they go to every Sunday, or near a string of shops or something. And I said, well, what do they preach? And he said, well, that's the problem. He said, what they know of the Word of God, they preach. But what they don't know, they fill in the blanks and the gaps with African traditional religion, which is filled with spiritism and ancestor worship. I said, well, they're untaught, aren't they? Yeah, they're untaught. Well, that's what we're here for. You know, that's exactly what we have to teach is what that's right. We're not teaching them? No, we're not teaching them. Why aren't we teaching them? You don't understand. Well, help me. Well, he said, they're highly visible, high profile on Sunday, but then the rest of the week, they disappear. They don't have a church, they don't have a building, they don't have an office, they don't have a telephone, they don't have an address. We haven't figured out how to get in touch with them, frankly. I said, well, I'm going to pray about that. He said, well, there's a lot of us praying about that. So I did start praying about that. I prayed about that for a long time. And I didn't see the answer to that prayer for 11 years. So what happened 11 years later? Well, we were having a conference in Nairobi using one of the halls at the University of Nairobi for Christian pastors and elders and whoever else the pastor wanted to bring. And I'd been invited to give a message or two. So right out in the center was a huge man. And even sitting down, he was a head taller than anybody. And so I poked the staff member sitting next to me and I said, who's the big guy in the middle? He said, well, he says he's Archbishop Amoy, A-M-O-I. And he's the chairman of an organization of independent African churches. I said, well, I didn't know they were organized. He said, neither did we. The next day, my secretary says, you have an appointment day after tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning. Well, she usually asked me before she committed me, and I said, well, who is this with? Well, she said, that's why I went ahead and made the appointment. He wants to be here at that time, and he's an archbishop. I said, what's his name? Turned out to be the same guy. So he was there. Well, promptly, right on the dot, this man walks in, and he's huge. And standing up, I guess probably about 6'4", 6'5". And he wasn't obese, he was just big. So we found a strong chair for him. And he sat down and started talking. And when a man that big wants to talk, what do? You listen, you know. Well, he said, I have come to ask a question. I said, before you ask the question, could I ask you a question? You are chairman of an organization of African independent churches.
That's correct.
He had a voice like the bass chord of an organ. I said, how many churches are involved?
We don't know, but there's 70 denominations.
I said, was that 70 or 7?
70.
I said, what do you calculate the total number of the people in the congregations?
We don't know, but it's at least 2 million.
I found out later that was conservative. Dr. David Barrett, church historian, he said it was at least 2.5 and probably 3 million. So then I asked him again, what can we do for you?
I've come to ask if Life Ministry,
that was our name in East Africa,
if Life Ministry will train our pastors, evangelists, and teaching elders. And by train, I mean teach them what you taught me in that conference last week in the University of Nairobi.
Whoa, right in our front door. So I went home that day and I shared this with Sue. And we got on our knees and had a prayer meeting and thanked the Lord. And then I said, Sue, Why do you think God waited 11 years to open this door for us through this man? My wise wife said, he didn't wait 11 years. I said, well, it's been 11 years. She said, well, what if he'd walked that man into your office 2 years ago or 5 years ago? Well, I said, we weren't ready, were we? 5 years ago, we didn't have the Jesus phone in those languages now, the Luya and Lua languages, but we got it now. And 2 years ago was when we got the picture book, Four Spiritual Laws, because many, if not most of those people are not literate. She said, that's what I mean. When we were ready, that's when he opened the door. In other words, I was right to keep on praying. Ask and keep on asking. Knock and keep on knocking. Seek and keep on seeking. So that altered my ministry. And probably a lot of what we do today is answer to prayer that we've been praying a long time for.